Thank you for checking out another edition of Hoops Hitting Gems podcast. I'm your host, David Jones. Thank you for guys for joining as usual. This is episode number 28. It's been a long grind, 28 episodes since last November. Thank you guys for sticking with us and checking out the show on a regular basis. Tonight we have another fun-filled edition as usual. We have Coach Ebony Tanner from St. Augustine. What's up, CIAA?
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. One thing I'm always big. I'm huge on the women's basketball, whether it be D1, D2, D3, or NAI. I've always been big, and I've always wanted to bring different levels of the game on. And thank you for joining the show tonight.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, thank you very much. So we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna talk about the St. Aug program. We're gonna talk about the CIAA as well. We're gonna talk about a plethora of things to get people more familiar with St. Augustine. So first, we'll start off with your background.
Okay, great. I am a Raleigh, North Carolina native.
Okay.
So Raleigh is home. St. Augustine's University has always been in my backyard.
Okay.
I played collegiate basketball at the University of Richmond, so I am a Spider. So after I graduated, I played overseas. I played in Israel. I played in Greece. And I did end up injured in Israel. And so I was looking for what's next. I thought it was corporate America. So I got my corporate America job, sat in my cubicle. And one day I said, this is not it. And luckily I was young enough with no responsibility.
Mhm.
I quit. And Jock Curtis over at Shaw University, longtime family friend, allowed me to come on first as a volunteer. So I started out as a volunteer coach, and then I worked my way up from a part-time to a full-time assistant within 2 years. And after that, I got a call from Michael Schaefer at the University of Richmond, and I went back to my alma mater, and I coached at the University of Richmond for 8 years before. And then my college point guard, Kim McNeil, got the head job at the University of Hartford in Connecticut.
Yes.
So as soon as she got that job, I went to Connecticut with her. Connecticut is much different than North Carolina. And the Nor'easters and the weather was a bit much. So I did come back to Virginia, and I coached a high school boys team at Lynn Haven Academy for a year before coming back to Shaw University. So after being at Shaw for 2 years, the call came and St. Aug was open, and I was like, I'm ready. I am ready for this opportunity. And here we are now in September, and I started over with the Falcons in January.
Congratulations. Definitely congratulations. So tell us a little bit more about St. Aug, the school.
St. Aug, beautiful. You know how we have schools that are city school blocks and we have campuses. St. Augustine's University is a campus. We have a beautiful campus that we call the Miracle on Oakwood. When you drive into campus, it's gated. You're driving into beautiful flowers and green and rolling hills and all the oaks that Raleigh boasts of in North Carolina, the oak trees. And there's the wildlife. You have that campus feel. It has the old school brick buildings, and it makes you feel at home as soon as you arrive on campus.
Okay, good. So with St. Aug being in the CIAA, that's a D2 school, how do you break down your scholarships?
Okay, so with my scholarships, I am able to offer kids across the gambit. I'm able to offer fulls. I'm able to offer partials. We do have the ability to package students. So student athletes coming in with great GPAs, they're able to get academic money. They're able to get money from any organization, and we're able to package it with mine. So if I was going to offer a student athlete, let's say 10,000, and then they are able to package 10,000 more with academic money. Now they're able to go to school absolutely free with no student loans whatsoever. So we do have the ability to package not only athletic money, but also academic money.
How much does it cost to go to St. Aug?
$27,500.
$27,500. So when you say your package, like you said, sometimes it could be Pell Grants, work study, in those type of arenas, correct?
And with local children, like local North Carolina student athletes, they get North Carolina money, North Carolina need-based money that allow them to also add to their package for their tuition.
Okay, and that's kind of like a state-based scholarship that they get, and they have to have a certain GPA.
With the state money, you do not have to have a certain GPA. You just have
Wow.
to live within the state. Yes.
Yeah, that's different. And see, here in Georgia, it's called the Hope Scholarship, and you got to have a 2.5 at least.
Okay. So yeah.
But hey, that's even better right there.
Mm-hmm.
So, boy, that makes it even easier. So you can get that money along with a Pell. Boy, that's more attractive. And like we were talking about in the back room, I wanted to ask this question because, I talk about this all the time. And, sometimes kids don't get it, and sometimes parents don't understand it as well. If you have a prospect that is a 4.0 that can get the presidential scholarship versus a prospect that is a 2.7, and let's just say they play the same position and you're recruiting both of them, who would you choose?
That 4.0 that can get a presidential allows me to make better use of my budget.
Okay.
Because they're coming in on that presidential, they get the same things that my full scholarship student athletes get.
Okay.
So that 4.0 and that 2.7 student that are equivalent on the court, that 4.0 student wins out every time.
So, and I want to ask you this question because to me, it doesn't matter. And I'm sure for you, it doesn't matter as well. When you offer somebody and they get that presidential money, nobody knows if you're giving a full ride out of your budget or if they're getting the presidential. So in essence, it doesn't matter, right?
It does not matter where the money comes from.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, the kids are getting to put out there committed or blessed to receive an offer, and it does not matter. And I want people to always understand that, because I get a lot of people that are caught on getting the full ride. Listen, I'm all for D-free. Don't get me wrong, but I'm also for D-free, whether it's academic or athletic as well.
Very true. You arrive at the same place.
Thank you. Exactly. So what type of team do you have coming up for this year for the 21-22 season?
I am excited about my team for the 21-22 season. Okay. We're all new to this. We've been out. It's hard to be a basketball coach without basketball. So we've been out for a year, and we're just excited to be back. My players are excited to get back on the court. They're anxious. They're just ready to, all that built up energy from sitting out a year. They are ready to perform.
Definitely. Did St. Aug play last year with COVID, or did they sit out?
Not. We sat out. The CIAA chose to sit out last season.
Okay, got you. And one other question I forgot, since we were touching on that, you also take JUCO prospects as well, correct?
I do. I recruit JUCO players as well.
What about post-grad? Do you take post-grad players?
I don't currently have any post-grad players right now.
But are they an option for you?
They are most definitely an option.
Okay. Yeah, I know my guy up there at Winston-Salem post-grad, they have a great girls program up there. And, that's always an option as well. So just touching on what type of GPA is needed to be accepted to St. Aug?
2.0.
Okay.
Student. And right now we still have the COVID waivers going on. So
no tests.
We're not able, to take the ACT or the SAT. You have that 2.0, and you've shown a consistent ability to be a good student. You're able to be admitted into the university.
So let me ask this as well. So not only for St. Aug, the test waivers for this year and next year, correct?
Correct. So my players the incoming freshmen,
yes,
from last season and this season, the waivers covered them both.
Well, let me ask this, and I'm sorry, maybe I'm wrong. I thought it covered 23 as well.
Oh, that I'm unsure about.
Okay. I think it covers 23 and 24. Then they're going to have to start taking the test.
Oh, okay. So they get another break.
Yeah, they get another break, which is a good thing. And a lot of schools are moving towards test option anyway. So we're going to see how that works in the NCAA, deciding that in future classes after 23. So the roster that you have in, tell me about your returning starters, your incoming class. Tell me a little bit more about them.
So I inherited a team of new players.
All new?
The majority. I have 2 players that have played in the St. Augustine's University prior to me. So we are all embarking on this journey together. The players that were here previously that could have come back, some decided to go ahead and graduate because the COVID year, had them choose to go in different directions. So we are starting this season with an absolutely new team.
Wow. And any transfers coming in, or is this just all high school kids or JUCO?
I have 2 transfers coming in, 1 D1 transfer and 1 JUCO.
Okay, nice. Okay, so this definitely should be an interesting year for you. Yeah. A lot of times with new teams, there may be some growing pains, but one of the big things about when you have teams like that, they always seem to come together around tournament time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to peak at the right time.
You want to peak at the right time. Now, I may talk to you in December or January, and you may not be this pleasant.
Right. Like a little stress.
Just a little stress.
We're getting better.
Exactly. But, and it's a building block. Like I said, with this being your first year, you're going to have those growing pains, but also there's going to be times when you peak where you're going to win games where people didn't expect you to win as well. So, I'm looking forward to seeing that. And I'm definitely going to try and get to the CIAA, because anybody that knows about the CIAA, it's no longer in Charlotte, right?
We are headed to Baltimore. So
wow.
Everything is new. Everything is new for 21, 22.
Man, I kind of miss Charlotte. I liked when it was in Charlotte. Plus, it was close to Atlanta, too.
Very true.
But the CIAA is a pageantry for people that don't know. You see a lot of the older alumni, they come in their suits and they Sunday's best. Mm-hmm. I used to look around like, God, I feel a little underdressed coming in for this, man. But it's a great experience for any of you big basketball fans that have not been to the CIAA tournament. Please check it out. It's a great experience. You'll never forget it.
It is an experience. Even games, coming to our regular season games is an experience. You so oftentimes walk into girls' games, women's games, and there's no fans, and it's quiet, and it's the old people and the children. You come to a CIAA game, and it is opposite. So it is definitely an experience. And so that's one thing I tell to my players that have never experienced a CIAA game. You got to stay focused on me. You can't get caught up on the band or the cheerleaders or the fans. Yes. You have to listen to me, because your atmosphere is one that you've not been in before.
Absolutely. My first experience with the CIAA was before North Carolina Central went Division I. And as a matter of fact, they were playing their rival, which was St. Aug at the time. And it was at NC Central. I initially went to the Bethune-Cookman before I transferred. That atmosphere was insane. Outside of Bethune-Cookman playing FAMU, that atmosphere was crazy. It was at NC Central at the time. It was jam-packed. I had to park way down the street. And I was like, why I had to park so far? And I walked in like, oh, my gosh. Right. I was like, this is, rivalry intense, close game, great game. I talk about that game, and gosh, that was 15, 16 years ago, something to that extent. And I still talk about that game because that was my first time going to a CIAA game at the time. And I've been a huge advocate and fan. And plus, for you people like me, the food is out of this world at those games. Oh, my goodness. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the food is really good. And the homecoming. Like the homecoming, that's for football, though. Those games are really good. So before I let you go, one of the things I always like to ask, and this is life after basketball. Let's say I have a prospect that's played 4 years with you. She loved it. And like yourself, she comes to you and says, Coach, I want to coach. Do you guys have like GA positions where she can come back and serve on the team, or in some capacity? Let me ask that.
Most definitely. One of the players from last year decided she didn't want to play anymore. And she actually worked camp for me this summer. And I
Okay.
saw something in her and I was like, I think you can do this.
Uh-huh.
So I pulled her to the side and was like, would you be interested in coming on staff, trying it out? Have you ever thought about coaching? And she was like shocked that I even said it to her.
Mhm.
But we have to give young people the opportunities to get into this
Absolutely.
game. And someone opened the door for me. Someone gave me an opportunity on more than one occasion, and I will most definitely reach back and do the same. So she will join my staff this year, um, to learn, to see if this is something that she really wants to do. And that is something that I continue to want to do, because as you coach, loyalty is big. And so you
Absolutely.
you build upon your tree and know that you have those people to reach out to that are doing the same thing, that have the same passion.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more. So she's coming on as a student assistant, right?
No, she's coming. She graduated. So she'll
Oh
come
wow,
on.
she's coming on
She'll come
staff.
on. Yeah, she will be on staff.
Man, that's big time, coach. I like to see that as well, because sure, we can all walk in somebody's house and say, "Oh, you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. We really want you here." This, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, it's what can you offer once this ball stops bouncing? What opportunities can I get with alumni can help me get a job? Are there other opportunities that I can, explore, once this thing stops, whether I lose the desire to play, or, maybe, a lot of times some people get to college and understand, boy, I'm not as good as I thought I was. And sometimes either they have to go D3 or lower, or they say, hey, I still love the game. I want to be a part of it, maybe in a video coordinator type position or something to that extent. And I just think it's always important that we offer those type of opportunities that you just expressed. Now, one of the other big things, what type of degrees does St. Aug offer?
Oh, it's across the gambit. I have a graphic designer on my team. I have business. I have computer science. I have math students. One of my students wants to be an engineer. And we
Wow.
have the biology. I have some kids that want to be doctors. I have kids that want to be nurses. So we offer all of that. Political science. Um,
Do you have communications?
we do have communication. The
Okay.
university has the kids have their own TV station that they host, and radio as well. So
Hmm.
those opportunities are there. We are in Raleigh, North Carolina, so RDU really big in
Yes.
tech.
Research triangle,
Yes.
definitely.
Um, Apple is coming here. Google is coming here. Really big with Amazon. So there are opportunities. There's internships. We have the UNC system. We have the Duke system. So there's hospitals. There's opportunity in this area. So
Absolutely.
students that are interested, we have the resources. I received a email not too long ago about Morgan Stanley partnering with our business school, teaching the students how to trade. So opportunity is here, and it
And,
makes me really excited.
man, and before you go any further, anybody that's listening, please take advantage of Morgan Stanley is trying to teach you all how to trade. That is a nice asset to have in your life. Once
Mhm.
this ball stops bouncing, and if you want to do that on the side besides working, that's that supplemental income that you could take advantage of by all means. One last thing, Coach, when you're looking for players, what type of system do you run? Let's go there first.
Okay, I love exciting basketball. We are up in your face. We are full out denying. Our defense is creating offense for us.
Okay.
So then when we have to be in the half court, I'm looking for movement. I'm a post player, so the ball is going inside out. We are working on getting the ball to the post. We are working on our guards relocating. We are moving. So if you like to walk the ball up the court, if you like slow basketball, you couldn't play in my system. We like to go. We
do
like to
you
move.
run a high low, or how do you go?
We will run a hello. We'll run a horn set. We'll run um, anything to get movement. We'll run a 5 out. For 8 years, I was under Michael Schaefer's 5 out offense, and it was difficult for people to guard. And the CI will see that this season. We will be difficult to guard. So I'm excited.
One of our favorite fans right there, Coach Mandeldove, he's up in at Winston Prep up in Massachusetts. As you can see, he's the coach there on the girls' side. So I'm sure he'll be hitting you up because he always has some quality prospects for you.
Yes, Coach, bring him down to the South. We can't stay up there in the North. It's too cold.
Now, this is the big one for me. Are you a man or are you a zone?
Hey, I'm a little bit of both. So I love a full out denial man to man, but that 1-2-2 in the half court is really hard for offenses to pick apart. So
So that means you like to trap then.
I like to trap.
I knew it.
Coach, I like exciting basketball.
Okay,
like
you're trying to create those turnovers. Like you said, once you said it's high octane and in your face, I said, yeah, she's trying to get the turnover.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I'm all about.
And I love it. So one of the questions I ask every coach as well, any incoming person that is coming in, how important is it to know the shell drill?
We do it all the time. I mean, from my 12-year-old daughter's AAU practice to my players, you will do shell from the time you pick up a basketball. So you need to know it. I mean, it doesn't go away.
So, and I'm glad you're saying that. So what about those incoming prospects that don't know it?
We break it down. It's funny you say that. Today in practice, I told my players, I said, I assumed you knew some things you didn't know. So let me back up. And that way I can hold you accountable for the things that I thought you should know in the first place.
So and when you say things you think they should know, you're assuming that they knew the shell drill.
I'm assuming you knew the shell drill. I'm assuming that my AAU high school, middle school coaches taught you basic fundamentals.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Boy, I'm going to clip that right there. Trust me, because I don't care if it's men's or women's, that's, as we know, the shell drill to me is like the holy grail of, like you said, being expected to know that when you get to the next level. And sometimes when people don't know it, you can't really fault the prospect. You have to look at that high school or AAU program like, you guys didn't teach this?
Right.
So I take it even further, for our AAU organization, we started in 8th grade. And when those kids knew the shell drill going into high school, that helped them tremendously playing freshman, JV, and varsity as well.
Definitely. Fundamentals take you very far.
Absolutely. We got one question. Coach Dove wants to know who inspired you.
Okay. I am the daughter of basketball players. My mother played, my father played,
wow.
My uncle played. So my dad and my uncle, Donald Tanner and Bonnie Tanner, were twins that played at Shaw University. Okay. So I'm a CIAA legacy here, but it was important for me to follow in their footsteps. When I was playing, my uncle used to tell me, defense doesn't put your name in the papers, so you need to score the ball. So that may have started, my need for intensity on the defensive end so we can get back to offense. But it would be my foundation, my parents, my uncle.
Okay, nice. I love it. I love it. Well, Coach, I want to thank you so much for coming, being a part of this, with us having a packed show. We have to keep our timelines kind of tight tonight because in general, you're the type if I had time, we could talk for the next hour about philosophies and everything else. But with me being a CIAA advocate, when I get to the CIAA, especially for the tournament, I will definitely look you up. I appreciate you so much for coming on the show. Okay.
Thank you for having me, and I look forward to seeing you at some games.
Oh, anytime, definitely. And check your mail. I sent you something. I'm pretty sure you'll be getting back to me on that one.
Awesome, thank you. All
right, well, you take care, and thank you for coming on again as a guest. Okay.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I was Coach Ebony Tanner. Great up and coming coach, just getting there to St. Aug. I'm sure she's going to do some big things there. She's only been there a good 8 months now. So, she's creating that culture, and it's going to be a really exciting atmosphere there this coming up season. Our next guest is actually, we're going to do something different this time. We have an NBA and WNBA skills trainer coming on. We have Coach Kristen Palmer coming on. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you for coming on the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
I'm always big on skills training, so I'll have a couple questions. If not, some other people have some questions as well. Man, we're going to jump right into this. So tell me more about what you do from your skills training for the men's and women's side.
Yeah, so I started up about 3 years ago, kind of when I was playing. So I just graduated college last May. So I started up. I had just did some kids, training some kids in high school. And then as I got into college and I was playing during the summer, I would just be training kids on the side, $15 stuff like that. And then I actually offered a couple guys who lived in my area who played professionally overseas to give them a workout. So I went in there. I looked at every bit of their film, every play they had in college, just knew everything I could and gave them a couple free sessions. And then so it started out kind of like that. And then I kind of got a grip on it and wanted to take it into a business because I really was not at all focused on being a skills trainer to begin with.
Okay. Let me ask you this. So is there anything in general that you focus on? Do you focus on moves? Do you focus on dribbling? Do you focus on shooting? And with Atlanta being Atlanta has a plethora of good skills trainers as well. So do you just do all around? What is your focus?
Yeah, so pretty general. My biggest thing with skills training is being as specific as possible. So when it comes to guys in the NBA, overseas, high level college players, the majority of them getting roles, they're going to be good at one or two things. Okay, so if you're a shooter, we want you to be the best shooter you can be. Best shooter you can be. You got to be able to guard your position. I mean, if you can guard multiple positions, that puts you in a better space to play. But my biggest thing is just kind of going through the film breakdown, realizing what their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and then focusing on just conversing with them, trying to figure out what their team needs and how they can fill a role.
Okay. So you said something, and I kind of like what you said. So do you require, before you start or when you first bring somebody in for their first session, you prefer to watch their tape before you do an assessment, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So anyone that has any synergy film, before I even go on the court with them the first time, I'm going to watch everything I can.
Okay.
So I want to know exactly what their shooting mechanics look like. I want to know how well they play defense. I want to know what their strengths are. I want to kind of get an idea of what they're going to do and then just kind of see how they bring that to a workout.
Okay. So I'm assuming after you watch that synergy film or huddle film, in your mind, you're creating kind of like a training program for them. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, in a sense. That's a good way to put it. I just kind of, obviously, so I'll watch it so kind of the breakdown there's tons of different ways you can do it. I mean, all that matters is getting results. So for me, I watch the film, I'll talk to them. So either on the phone or before the session, I'll spend 15, 20 minutes getting to know them and just kind of what they're feeling on the court. Because, you might see one thing, you might think, oh, he doesn't finish well around the rim. And he may say he's not doing well at 4 other things. So I kind of want to go in there with a clear vision of what we want to accomplish. So I want to know, I don't want to, for a guy in college or playing overseas or playing in the NBA, I don't want to go in there and just waste a workout doing 5 or 6 different things, especially when 4 of them they will never do in a game. So I would say watch the film, talk to them, and then implement.
Gotcha. And so where are you located at? Where do you train at?
Yeah, so Metro Atlanta. I train some out of Stone Mountain. I train some out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. Those are my 2 primary locations.
Okay.
But I kind of also travel around. So
Okay.
that's my locations for the summer when everyone's kind of in town.
Okay. And during the fall or like right now, are you certain hours that you train, or you're just open to you guys work it out? Like, okay, if you're available, let's make it happen.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a good thing and a bad thing.
Okay.
No set hours, so it's flexible. That's a good thing.
Okay.
The bad thing is no set hours, so it can go all over the place.
Okay.
So right now we kind of locally have some skills camps going on. So like 3 days a week in the evening, we'll have some clinics for middle school and high school kids.
Okay.
We're working on that, and we still have a few players that are waiting to head overseas. And then so we're working with them. And then almost all the NBA guys are over for their preseason camp. So we kind of got all that going on. So I try to stay busy. I try to, I'll make film breakdowns and send that over their way because I'm not really able to do as much film work in the summer because we're going 10-hour days.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's kind of a good time to touch on more of the business side of everything.
Okay. So during the summer, and you just touched it, like you said, when you're going 10 hours, you're working with those pro players in the summertime, or are you working with everybody?
A little bit of everyone. So some of them are going 2 times a day.
Yes.
And then I'll have some groups. I'll have some group sessions of like usually max 4. I don't like having more than 4 players. Of some college boys, college girls. And so I kind of like those sessions too because you can make them really competitive.
Yes.
Try to match them up size-wise, 2 guards, 2 bigs, and you can work on pick and roll situations. So I mean, there's a benefit to that as well. So I would say throughout the day, it could be an overseas guy and then a couple of college guys come in, and I'm glad I have more help with it this year because last year the scheduling of all of that was
a lot
crazy because I don't really usually my workouts only 40. They're intense, 45 minutes to an hour. So they're not long, but I don't keep a time on it. I kind of want it's kind of more of a feel thing. Kind of want to get a rhythm before we end. So sometimes people could be waiting a few minutes, which I don't like, but you got to get the work in. So
absolutely. So you're just doing skills. Do you have somebody that you work with in regards to strength and conditioning as well, or how does that work?
So the strength and conditioning, I don't work directly with someone as far as like a collaboration, but I do have a couple. There are 2 people that I refer to, players. I'll refer to them. Yeah, most of my players kind of go to, if they didn't already have one themselves before they came to me. There are 2 different people that I will suggest because they'll usually ask that as well.
Okay. All right. And how can people reach you on Twitter or Instagram? How can they reach out to you?
Yeah, so Instagram, my personal page is Chris Palm 35, and then my business page is at Pure P, letter P basketball on Instagram. Twitter, I'm on there a little bit, not as much, but that is Chris_Palmer 24.
Chris_Palmer 24. Okay. And so this is always one thing I like to ask as well. You said you've been in this 3 years. The players that you trained, what type of players have you trained to go on to college and also played in the pros? So it's kind of like your little treasure trove of players you've trained.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Well, the players that you've trained, just say what schools have they gone on to play at?
Oh, okay, yeah. Let's see. So, UGA,
Okay.
Georgia Tech, Duke, one from Kansas, and then those are overseas. Oh, Indiana,
Okay.
NJIT. So, kind of all over the map.
Okay. Okay.
A
And
little bit.
then on the pro side, they're all overseas, or are they NBA as well? Or
One was with the Raptors,
Okay.
Kevon Harris. So he played with the Raptors, G League, and now he's over in Croatia.
Okay.
And then two were with the Hawks last year. One's now with the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Okay. 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 Good. Good. And so, is there a phone number, or is it just you prefer to be contacted through social media?
Yeah, my phone number, it's 404-918-2379, and anyone can reach out there at any time. I'm pretty open. Again, I don't have set hours, so I'll do my best to call back or text back as quick as I can.
Got you. Got you. So let me ask this as well. Do you train a lot of these AAU kids in Atlanta? Because AAU is huge here.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do. It's crazy how different AAU is, even since 7 years ago when I played it. It's just insane.
Yes, it is.
It is like so much money goes into it, so much energy goes into it. But yeah, I do. I'll be honest, I don't really. So for the kids I train, I'm mainly going to their games the high school season. During the AAU season, the summer, I'm busy as well. So it's like there's just so many games.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's just so I'll just look on Monday morning and there's another highlight tape, or like there's always some highlights from AAU. So
yeah, yes. So for you, basically, the only time you could probably train those kids is probably from January to March, right before the AAU season kicks off. Because once that season kicks off, it's going to be limited, as you said, because it's crazy. Once March hit, they're going pretty much all the way to that last live period in July, and some go even past that to the non-live periods up until Labor Day.
Definitely, yeah. I saw some tournaments towards Labor Day, and some of them like in October, and I was like,
yeah,
what in the world?
Oh yeah.
So I'm still kind of catching on to that market, but I know it's a good thing. There's a lot of exposure for kids, but I mean, there's also a lot of kids get underlooked.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And it's so funny you touched that. You actually have to know a program that knows how to navigate through the tournaments that are really about something for exposure, and then there's some where you used to say, okay, that's for people that are not as serious, or they're just trying to get a pickup game, so to speak. So you have to know the difference. And sometimes a lot of people don't know the difference, and they don't know the questions to ask those tournament directors as well. So, that's not anything for you, because for you, your interest is on the training side. And man, I mean, as you already know, with you just getting into this 3 years ago, and you quickly saw that you can make this a business, because basketball is year round now. It's not 6-7 months and you take 4 months off. No, people are in that gym because it's fierce. The competition is fierce. People are trying to get scholarships, And to get to that level, you have to have somebody that knows your deficiencies and is able to improve your deficiencies, correct?
Definitely. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing for kids playing AAU. And what I encourage AAU coaches, you gotta keep the skill development side in the game. I mean, you play a whole high school season, you get knocked out in the playoffs, and then the next weekend you're playing AAU, playing 4 games. So you gotta make sure the foundation of the fundamentals are knocked down before you get into too many games where you're just going to go back to your old habits.
So I got a good question for you. So, you said you like to break down the film and look at that player's strengths and weaknesses. So once you do that, can you pinpoint in let's just say 4 or 5 or 6 weeks with your training, how that person has improved and you can point it out, or what do you like to do?
Yeah, so I'd like to you got to try to do different things with it. So let's say if someone shooting, for example, if someone's shooting 29% from 3 and they've really got to get up to 35% for their team to get in the game more. First thing you got to do is you got to make sure their mechanics are straight. You got to adjust any tweaks you might need to do. That might take 2 or 3 weeks, but you got to be patient with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you got to do is you got to get them rolling. And I try to throw different drills at people. So once their mechanics are looking good, just as an example, shooting, I like to throw out some different shooting drills. If it's a 3-minute shooting drill, drifts, lifts to the wing, trail threes, just kind of get their confidence up and make sure they're shooting it at a high clip. And then the next step to that would be, how are they shooting contested shots? So now we get some pin downs in there, and we'll have someone trailing them over the top on their hip, and we're seeing how quickly they can get a shot off in a game-like scenario.
Okay.
So if we're using that example, I would break down their shot right away, as long as that takes to look fluent. And then I would go to some shooting drills just off of one versus air. And then I would get into some game actions with some people I have helping me. And we'll see how they're shooting there, and kind of if we need to take a step back or kind of go forward with the progress we're making.
Okay. And so what you're saying in regards to that progress, is it just kind of the confidence in the kid, or are you able to go to the parent to say, okay, he started here and now we have him up to here? When you go to that, do you give them an assessment, or how do you break it down to the parents?
Yeah, so really you got to, the biggest thing, I mean, seeing is believing. So so you got to give them some sort of film. So you got to, the player, whoever else, you got to give some sort of film. You'd be like, okay, this is where they're missing. They're missing to the left a lot of times. Their wrist snap is going to the left, whatever it might be. So that you want to kind of give them evidence of what's going on. And then kind of what their shooting percentage is. And then as you go forward at the end, it's kind of tough, because you can give them all the drills, you can give them all the mechanics, but if they're not making shots in the game, they're going to be, it didn't really matter. So, I mean, you gotta find different ways to go about that, and ultimately getting their percentage up. But for a lot of people, especially at a younger age, they'll have good mechanics, but they lack a lot of confidence.
Yes.
They're not self-confident. Younger kids specifically get frustrated easier than older players, because they're just not as experienced, or they have more self-doubt. So that's another big thing as well. You gotta have next play mentality. You gotta make sure they believe in themselves.
Yes.
So, I mean, you gotta believe in them, and you gotta make sure they believe in themselves. So I would say before all of that, fixing the mechanics and all, you got to make sure they have confidence in it.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that because, a lot of times it is training. Don't get me wrong, because it's training and repetition, but a lot of people undervalue confidence as well. And, confidence a lot of times comes from repetition because once they're doing it, it becomes muscle memory then, yes. And, that builds confidence when they start to see, certain, shooting form being improved. And now that improves their shot and they're seeing it go in, because at the end of the day, when any prospect sees their shot going in, that's how they start to feel, as they quote, he's on fire, and that's supreme confidence right there, because they've knocked down 3, 4, 5 shots in a row. So now they're going. But also in the same sentence, like you said, it's that next play mentality where you can't let 2 or 3 misses just frustrate you. And you say, oh, I don't want to shoot anymore, or, I'm just off. Now we're getting into totally sports psychology then. But, like you said, it's really what you can do to improve mechanics and what you can do. One of the biggest things is footwork. And, a lot of people, there's a couple people that I've seen in Atlanta training wise that are great on footwork. I've seen some trainers that don't say anything about it. And, to get your shot off, your feet have to be correct. They have to be spread correctly, as we all know. And, you can see a kid and I look at him, I'm like, gosh, his footwork's terrible. And that's one of the reasons he's missing shots. But some people may be focusing on it's your release or it's this. Yes, that's true. But if his feet looks terrible, it's the whole mechanics of the shot that people miss a lot of times. And, just looking at some of your videos, I did like what I saw when I saw some of your videos, when I saw some of the spin moves from the corner and stuff like that. I was like, okay, I said, it looks like he works on footwork a lot as too, because I saw you. One of the other things I like is you actually show them as well. You know what I'm saying? There's some trainers, they'll just bark out instructions and they're not showing them. Like, okay, are you kidding me? You got to show the kid or the prospect, what you're talking about. So when I saw that, I said, okay, I can respect what he's doing there, because, you're actually showing what needs to be done, how it needs to be done, and you're showing them in a way that you're walking them through it as well. So I did like that as well. So, man, I just want to thank you so much for coming on to the show, because, I'm a big on training. I'm huge on training. And, you're one of those trainers in Atlanta that, I can see some kids going to and getting some value out of it as well. So that's why I brought you on the show. Okay.
I appreciate that.
Oh, man, anytime. And, like I said, just one last time before we go, let the listeners know how they can get in contact with you.
Yeah. So my Instagram, the business Instagram, is @pure_P basketball. My personal Instagram is Chris Palm and then 35. And then if text or call, it's 404-918-2379.
Okay. Hey, Coach Palmer, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. We'll follow up in a couple months to see where you're at, man. You're always welcome on the show, man. And thank you for coming on, man. Okay.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. You have a good one. Okay.
All right. You too.
All right. Bye-bye. I was Coach Palmer, one of the many trainers here in Atlanta. As Atlanta being a hot spot for basketball, we have some of the best trainers in the country, from shooting to footwork, to offensive moves, to rebounding. We have some of the best trainers here. And if you're trying to get better, a lot of times you need to go to a trainer to get better. And, hats off to them. And, I'll be bringing on more trainers in the future as well. My next guest, my man from the 2-time state champions, Wheeler High School, Coach Darnell Shepard. How you doing, man?
Yo, what's good with you?
Man, I'm good, man. I had to bring Shep on. When you got those blue bloods of high school basketball, you definitely got to bring them on the show, man. Man, I just want to thank you for coming on, man. And it was funny. I even had this conversation about trainers. What people don't know, outside of you being an assistant at one of the premier high school programs, you're also one of the best trainers in Atlanta too, man. Everybody knows Shep and that Vertimax. Everybody know about Shep and the Vertimax, brother.
Well, first of all, thank you. I appreciate that. I felt like it was important to kind of find a niche, and really excel at that. I was blessed enough to be able to work with Mark Edwards, who is kind of like my mentor, guru type dude.
Shout out to Mark. Definitely shout out to Mark.
Yeah, it's my dude. So, I mean, he actually, me having like a track background and then not really wanting to do too much with floor exercises and stuff like that. I kind of needed a niche within his own training program. And so I kind of carved that out for myself maybe like 10, 12 years ago now at this point. And so, with the Vertimax though, you just, the work is the work. And I've been pretty successful with, with getting guys on there that want to do the work, because it's not easy. It's not fun. But, you get the results though. So, so not just Vertimax, but definitely, I would like to think that, if you kind of need that speed and agility work, you come holler at me, I'll get you right.
So let me ask you this, Shep. So when somebody comes to you on average, and it's not to boast or brag, you can get 4 to 5 inches on somebody's vertical.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also you can cut down their speed time. I mean, we know we don't really clock in basketball, but you're making them a lot faster, going to the cup or getting up and down the court, correct?
Right. Yeah, and also too, while the vertical is, an important part of basketball, reaction time, and things of that nature, definitely come into play as well. So for me, it's not just, I tell kids all the time, or parents mostly, is, your child might not be windmilling when we get done, right? Like, that's not what we're aiming for. What we're aiming for is a quick second jump, or, stuff that I know that college coaches are really paying attention to. So, as long as those things are handled, then, the vertical will happen. You got some guys that never will get on a Vertimax and got a, 40 plus vertical, rolling out the bed, and some people got to work a little bit harder at it. So, so not just focusing on the vertical, but definitely making sure that, I tap into all aspects and allow a player to be the best version of themselves.
Absolutely. So, man, stepping away from, your training regimen, we're going to talk about Wheeler a little bit. And, here in Atlanta, we consider Wheeler a blue blood here in Atlanta, bro. Because
it really should be like a blue blood, like regardless of state, but like that's my own opinion.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, you get no argument from me on that. Just to let the audience know, I came to see Shep last Tuesday, and I walked in there, and it looked like a live period in there with the number of coaches there, man.
Man, we blessed, man. We blessed to have, guys that, well, number one, I got to salute the head coach, my head coach, Larry Thompson.
Yeah.
Top 5 in the country. I'll have that conversation with anybody.
I would too.
And then also too, man, just, having a tradition, with Coach Lipscomb being there and Dez and all of those guys kind of, building Wheeler to what it was. And then Larry stepping in, and Coach Q, who's now over at Brookwood, Coach Cam, who now has his own program as well. So Larry has, kind of started his own coaching tree as well.
Exactly.
Which is always really dope to see. But yeah, I think that we just are really blessed to have, number one, great leadership, great admin staff that, kind of understands what the situation is and what we're trying to continue to uphold and even, push further. And then also just having kids and family, and community that have bought into the work, it's not that Hollywood type situation. We gonna, be a blue collar type situation. And for us, walking into the gym and seeing all of those coaches is just a byproduct of the work.
Yeah, no question. No question. A little bit as well. We're going to talk about the roster you have this year, and we're going to also talk about that national schedule that you're playing this year as well. We'll start with that, man. We'll start with the schedule. Jesus, man. That schedule's murderous row. So you're playing in Flying to the Hoop, and you're playing in what, City of Palms too, right?
Nah, we're Flying to the Hoop. We're playing in the event at Milton. I think it's like Longhorn Shootout.
Longhorn Shootout, yeah.
Yeah, that's a national event as well. We're playing in the Kevin Durant Classic.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have 2 national events at Wheeler, the TOC Tournament of Champions.
Always.
And then we start off the season immediately ducking nobody, going to Duncanville for their hoops giving situation.
Hey, and for people that don't know, Duncanville, so just to let people know, so Georgia had one of the top team camps in the country. The other one was in Duncanville. Plain and simple. Yeah, and they have a rich history as well. So everybody knows if you're going to one or the other, if you're coming to Atlanta or Duncanville, you're in for some smoke. Plain and simple.
Yeah, just like right out the gate, we want the test. We want to see, how we stack up against, other premier programs in the country, particularly particularly public schools. I have my own personal opinion about these random prep schools and schools that just pop up, but I don't want to get myself in trouble with it.
I guess.
So as far as that's concerned, we're definitely looking forward to that. And then, we're playing in Sean's event as well on the radar.
Yeah.
We kicked the season off with that. So yeah, man, we tell all of our kids, man, number one, you go to Wheeler. So we are going to play the most elite schedule humanly possible that we could put together. The amount of region games that we have kind of didn't really let us really get on the road the way that we wanted to, because we had to play, where we forced to play all of those region games. Yeah. But, I think the region games really help us, when it's time for state, you know what I mean? You got to deal with, maybe some adversity, a weird schedule here or there, type of situation. So, we're really excited about the schedule that we put together. Super competitive, and we're gonna do the very best we can with it.
And that schedule always prepares you for state time, and that's really one of the reasons why with that competitive schedule, why you guys are 2-time state champs back to back. Man, so I know you lost some pieces this year. Tell us about the roster you got for this year, man.
Well, you just said you walked in and saw all the coaches, right?
Oh, no doubt.
So we in good shape, bro. I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping at all.
No. I'm not saying you all are down and out. No.
Yeah, no.
We always, Shep, we know Wheeler is going to look. Wheeler is Wheeler for a reason. And what people don't also understand is, man, you all build up your JV to get those kids ready for the next level too, man. A lot of people don't talk about that, man.
No, they don't, because that's not sexy to talk about. It's easier to kind of, poke holes at, transfers or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand. But the flip side to that, though, is if we weren't doing well with transfers and people that were coming through the program. I talk about Kyle Burns all the time. Kyle Burns is a kid that came all the way through the program.
Yeah.
Radford commit, salute to him and his family. But nobody mentions that. Nobody mentions anything about, a Kedrick Oliver, who we had last year, who came all the way through the program. So, there's, the same way you can talk about transfers is the same way that we could talk about kids that have come through the program. So, that's hit or miss. But as far as the roster is concerned this year, obviously the top name on the roster is our 2023 point guard, Isaiah Collier, who, and I'm ready to have this conversation with anybody that wants to have it too. That is the best point guard in the class. And that's no bias. It's just I've seen all of them, and like, you know, he's like that. And then again, like I just referenced Kyle Burns, and then Javon Gamery, who for the life
of him, man,
I don't understand why.
I like him.
I mean, I get it, you know, because he's small, but at the same time, like, he's small and he can hoop. So, you know, if he's 6'5" and not very good, I don't know if it's a difference if he's 6'5" or 5'7", you know, but whatever the case may be, you know, that's my own opinion on that as well. And then, you know, we have Arrington Page, who we're really high on, right around 6'9", but he's up 2 Division I offers as well. So he's, you know, somebody who has been around for a year and some change, and we're looking for him to have a big year.
Is he 23?
Yeah, he's 23 as well.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Jelani Reynolds, who is, you know, transferred in, who I'm super high on. If you've not ever seen anybody play hard, like, come watch that kid play, and you'll understand what playing hard looks like. Yeah, and then you know, the big fella that we have as well, Cam Brown. He's going to surprise some people. Solid defender. You know, we just got to kind of up his game a little bit, but kid is working. He's working really hard. And then another one that nobody really knows about, again, we talk about development, is DJ Mitchell.
Yeah.
DJ Mitchell is going to turn some heads this year. You know, he's worked his way onto some college coaches' radar. I mean, we're super, like, yeah, I mean, we have the talent. We have the guys that are willing to buy in and that are willing to work hard. You'll hear me say this a lot. Coaching matters.
Absolutely.
And I like to think that we're pretty good at what we do. You know, unfortunately, every night doesn't go the way that we want it to. But, you know, when you have the caliber of players that we have, plus the tradition that is already in place, you know, it makes our job a little bit easier.
Definitely. Hey, man, and, you know, like I said, you know, I know I harp on this blue blood, but, you know, when you mention the Wheelers, the Pebblebrookes, the Norcrosses, the Newtons, you know, those type of programs, man, it's a certain excellence that's expected every year. So, you know, you all losing 8 to 10 games is not acceptable. And not to say it can't happen, but, you know, that's not the norm. Let's just say that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, we crazy enough, man, when we won our first state championship with under Larry, you know, we were 24-7. You know, the talk was, damn, y'all lost 7 games. Y'all must not have been very good. And it's like, you know, we must have been pretty decent to beat the number 2 team in the country at the time. You know what I mean? And it wasn't a fluke. Like, if you watch the first game that we played them, the second game was very much so reminiscent of the first game that we played them, you know? So, yeah, man, when you get around that 7 loss mark, you know, like, you know, it gets a little weird, you know what I mean? But again, we're not ducking anybody though. So, you know, you're going to get everybody's best punch.
Man, it's so funny you said that. So, you know, we'll go back to GHSA this summer. And man, I remember when you guys played Dr. Phillips.
Yeah.
Man, when you all played Dr. Phillips, I mean, Shep, it was probably about, and I'm not exaggerating, there was probably about 75 to 100 coaches watching that game on top of everybody else that wanted to see the game. You know
yeah, it was packed. I mean, and Dr. Phillips beat us pretty good. You know, they handled us. But, you know, as far as that's concerned, like, the way I looked at that game was they pretty much returned their whole core, you know, and then here we are trying to kind of implement some guys who quite honestly have never even been in that type of environment, you know, and so, you know, we had some guys kind of do some stuff out of character and things of that nature, but again, it was a great learning lesson and a great platform for those guys. Salute to all of the coaches too in Georgia that helped put that together.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, like, that's just an amazing platform. It just shows why Georgia basketball is a little bit ahead of the curve as far as, you know, making sure that our kids are seen like that. You know, we might talk bad about each other behind closed doors and stuff, but in person and for the kids, like that was
phenomenal.
It's super. It's I mean, these kids are so blessed, man, and so from me to them, like, thank you guys for making sure that our kids are showcased and showcased properly.
Man, and thank you for what you do, man. Because I mean, let's go back a minute for what you just touched on, man. And that's the reason why you guys are so good. Because when it comes February, March, your guys are battle tested. They played a Dr. Phillips. They played an elite schedule. And that's not to say anybody coming against Wheeler is not going to be ready, but you all played the best of the best. So now those kids that did some things out of character in GHSA or on the radar at the beginning of the season, that's not happening in February and March. You know what I'm saying? And so, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think the real issue is that some people are scared to lose. So like you're so scared to lose that you end up tricking yourself out of winning, And so unfortunately, you got to see some of the ugly stuff early, so that way, like you just talked about, in March and February, you don't see those things, And so yeah, like, I mean, we got handled against Dr. Phillips. Not going to take nothing away from them at all. But to your point, I'm not expecting to see that in February and March.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. And so, man, the expectation, let's go back to the culture at Wheeler and what you expect from your kids on an everyday basis. And, what is it that makes Wheeler that winning program? All shouts out to Larry. Larry does an amazing job. You do an amazing job. What is it that really makes Wheeler, man?
Well, for me, it starts way back. Like I'm a Wheeler graduate. I was lucky enough to win a state championship while I was a player there back in 2003. We also have another fellow state champion on the staff as well, with Richard McCray. And so really, I mean, we have a saying at Wheeler: the standard is the standard. And so, like, the standard kind of was already in place before most of these kids were even born, So, so it's like the expectation is winning, though. Like, and that really just is the culture, We value winning, we value being a good person, and we value you doing those two things at the same time. And so I think that a lot of the kids that either come through the program or that enter into it, like, it's known. There's an expectation that says, hey, like, we're up here, and we're going to not only on the court but in the community, in your classroom. Like, the standard is the standard, and for no reason should we fall short of that. And if you do fall short, you better be asking for some help or some guidance, or tap a teammate or a teacher on the shoulder or something like that, and get this thing figured out. Because again, you had a lot of people put in a lot of sweat equity and a lot of time to make sure that you, Isaiah Collier, are afforded a primetime opportunity. And so our kids do a really good job of understanding where they're at, of understanding the expectation level, and just kudos to those older guys that came before them that laid the foundation, and now it's like a well-oiled machine for real.
Well, man, and there's one other thing that you and Larry do, man, and I'm just going to say this, man. You guys get down in the trenches with making sure your kids are taken care of going to the next level, man. Shep, I hope I'm okay saying this, like, if it's a kid like the number 9 kid on your team, man, I've gotten a text from you like, hey, man, we're trying to find this kid a home, man,
right.
And I respect the heck out of you guys because, man, whenever you call, I'm going to pick up the phone you call. But the point being, man, like, you got your Isaiahs, you got your primetime players, but what people always miss out, and I harp on this all the time, is making sure that all your seniors are taken care of, man. You know what I'm saying?
So like last year's group, right? We had 7 seniors. Out of the 7 seniors, 6 of them are playing college basketball. One of them decided he just wanted to go academic. Otherwise, we would have found a situation for him too.
Yeah.
But he early in the year, he was like, I just want to be along for the ride, and I already have my academic situation under control. Hey man, more power to you. You know what I mean? But yeah. My thing is this, right? Like we demand a lot out of our kids, right? The schedule is crazy, the workload is crazy. We ask them to sacrifice a lot. And we ask the parents to sacrifice a lot too, waking up in the morning, staying late, whatever the case may be. Pardon my French, but I would be a complete asshole to ask you to do all of those things and then not be able to pick up a phone or send a text message. Like it doesn't compute, you know what I'm saying? And so I don't understand coaches on any level that don't take the time out to say, hey, I'm asking this kid to run through a brick wall for me, and you not have it in your mind to pick up a phone and send a text message. Even if you don't have those relationships, get on Twitter, like do something. I don't know, figure it out. But like it just amazes me how a lot of these coaches operate. I don't understand it. And then they get mad when that's a whole nother conversation. But
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, like it's weird to me. It's super weird energy. And so thank you for that though. But yeah, I'm never gonna ask a kid to sacrifice his teenage years and then not try to help him, realize his dream. Like that's wild.
That like you said, Chef, that boils me, man. When I see coaches, and I won't call any coach, I would never do that. But when I see coaches that do that are treating this like, okay, I'm just getting a stipend basically, and I'm moving on. And then after the season's over, well, thank you guys for coming out. We'll have a banquet. I'll deal with the next players in August or September, man.
Right.
Wow, man, that ain't how it's supposed to work. Like, Shep, there's plenty. I mean, let's just be honest. Like, any AAU coach is looking at your kids like, yo, can I get him? Can I get him?
Yeah.
And let's take it a step further. Like, you guys, like you said, you guys got relationships, man. And yes, you have relationships, and also people want to be involved because it's Wheeler, sure. But at the end of the day, man, like I said, there's not a program out here that can't build it to what Wheeler has done. It's just that you guys have a tradition. But when I see coaches being lazy, and you see these kids out here, that some of them, as well as I know, some of these Atlanta kids have phenomenal talent, but they're in a situation where they're at a school where basketball is not a priority, man. And so they lost in the sauce.
Yeah, it's really tough to see. But, again, with Georgia having so many AAU programs, I mean, it's a gift and a curse, because maybe you can lean on your AAU situation a little bit more than, say, a kid at Pebblebrook would have to, you know what I mean? Or, a kid at Grayson or something like that. Like that. I mean, that's touchy. But I do know exactly what you're talking about. And I see it. Again, this is my 15th year coaching high school basketball, so I've seen it every kind of way, and it's unfortunate that a lot of those kids miss out on primetime opportunities. Or, you see a kid, he gets an offer over here, and then you're looking at this other kid with, like, nobody knows that he plays basketball, and he's actually a better prospect.
Yeah.
But just this other kid, is in a situation to where he has relationships and things of that nature, or he has a good, village around him that is helping him. But kids get lost in the sauce.
But look at it like this, Chef. Then if that's the case, you can't get mad if your best player is willing to leave your program and go to a Wheeler, Norcross, or whoever else has that tradition, because they're looking out for their best interests. So, sometimes you guys catch that nonsense. Just to be honest, you guys catch that nonsense because what we just talked about happens. And when they go to another program, they're taking our kids. No, bro, you're not doing what you're supposed to do to help these kids get to the next level.
I mean, this is, gonna sound crazy, but I kind of look at it like relationships, right? Like, you know, you're married or you got a girlfriend or boy, whatever the situation is, right? It's like, you know, like if you beating the person up or whatever, right? Like, you know, or you just like mentally abusing them or whatever the case may be, and then they up and leave and go deal with somebody else, like that's not really their fault. You know what I mean? You kind of help them leave, you know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of times, like if coaches would kind of look at it in that manner and realize it's not like a dictatorship type situation, that like, you know, you are dealing with somebody who, you know, has feelings, has thoughts, even if they're delusional, you know what I mean? Like you can at least have a conversation with them that says, hey, you see yourself like this, I don't really see you that way. Like let's be amicable about it, you know. And I think so many times the human element gets lost, you know what I'm saying, because we're talking about a game. And so yeah, I mean, you know, I've been a part of programs where we've gotten kids and we've lost kids, you know. And I mean, I think that's just really part of the game. It happens on every level. My thing is just do better, you know. And if that was a situation to where it ended up being addition by subtraction, then, you know, like so be it. But I agree with you though. I do think that there's a much larger, you know, conversation that could be had around that versus it just being, you know, stealing kids or whatever the case may be. Like that, that's not a conversation for me.
But Chef, and yes, you're absolutely correct. I'm not asking for every program to be a Wheeler. By no means am I asking that. What I'm saying, Chef, is this is just my personal opinion. Like you said it earlier in the conversation, like pick up the phone. If you can send out that edit and say, hey, 5 of my seniors, 3 went D2, 1 went NAI, and 1 went D3, you're winning.
Yeah.
You're winning. But, you know, yeah, of course, everybody's going to look at what a Wheeler or Norcross does, but I'm not asking for Wheeler or Norcross results because that's unrealistic. If we had every program like a Wheeler or Norcross, we would have problems. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, so like before I got to Wheeler, I spent 13 years at Sprayberry, right? And so anybody that knows anything about Sprayberry High School, all right, boom. All right, so like, but while we were at Sprayberry, to your point, like we were successful with what we had, you know. I mean, like, you know, guys went on to go play, you know, NAIA, D3, D2.
Yes, man.
You know, we had a few D1 kids come through that actually stayed there, you know, but I mean, and then my job was just, yo, I'm gonna do my very best to make sure that we put the best product on the floor. And, you know, you got to live with those results. So, yeah, man. I mean, you know, I kind of don't get into. I try to stay out of what everybody else is doing. Like I kind of have like the horse blinders on. Like, you know, what do I need to do for my guys? What I need to do for my coach and Larry Thompson, and what do I need to do for the Wheeler community, which I'm very much so a part of, and I grew up in. So yeah, like I'm the other rhetoric and stuff like that, like, you know, to me it's just noise. It sound good, you know. And my thing is like, and if you got a problem with it, come play us. Like, you know, that's the great thing about basketball. You only, at least in high school, you only got to be good one night. You know,
no doubt.
You know,
now on any given night, you get it. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? So yeah, so I'm not gonna. Yeah, I tend to kind of stay out of those conversations, but there is some. There's a lot of merit and value in what you just said, as far as how people can go about making sure that their program is the best version of what they can do, you know.
Yeah, like you said, Sprayberry was Sprayberry, but Sprayberry has some successful kids go on to the next level because you guys were making sure of that. And that's all I'm saying, man. I'm not sitting up here saying, oh, you got to have 4 or 5 D1s in the next 5 years. No, I'm not saying that. I mean, you got some Peach Belt kids, you got some kids that go to Oglethorpe, you know, you got some kids that go JUCO D1 and D2.
Right.
You're winning. You know what I'm saying? And be proud of that because, you know, you're building your foundation. You know what I mean?
Bro, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. When I was at Sprayberry, anytime we could get a coach to come through the school, bro, like it was like you would have thought we won a state championship. Like I was that excited, you know what I'm saying? Because it was like, bro, like I know you at Wheeler, just come 6 minutes down the street, bro. You know what I mean? Like pull up on me, and like it was like pulling teeth, you know what I mean? And so, but again, you kind of gotta find wins when they happen, you know what I'm saying? And so, it takes a lot of work though, and I think that's a real underlying issue. Most staffs aren't willing to put in the type of hours that it takes to, take someone who is relatively unknown and turn them into something. It takes a lot of time, and you got to be good at doing that. Like you have to be good at development, so you got to actually know what you're looking at. Most people can't develop, you know what I mean? So, so now you got to do some self-reflection and say, well, maybe I'm just an X's and O's guy, or maybe I'm just a guy that can make sure my guys keep their grades up, and so you kind of got to know what you need around you, in order to make that situation work. Which is why I love coaching with Larry so much, is because like, that dude, like he's quick to be like, Shep, you go do that. Like I'm doing something else, and you let me know how that went. And it's great to not be micromanaged.
So one last big question for you guys, man. Man, you guys, the thing I really like about Wheeler as well, like you guys get people qualified over there. So that means you guys are having some type of study hall and making sure people are checking grades and to that nature, man. And a lot of people don't talk about that as well. You know what I'm saying? What people like to talk about is, like I said, if Wheeler lost, Larry's losing it or Shep don't know what he's doing. But let's talk about the underlying of Wheeler and how these kids are being eligible, NCAA eligible, and able to go on to the next level. You don't hear about them. Like I said, you're going to have a couple instances where somebody may need to go JUCO, but that's a whole nother issue. But like you said, it's that village that you guys have in place where you're getting kids eligible, man.
Well, number one, I think it starts with, parenting and, what they're getting at home. I think we have an amazing group of parents. This is my third year at Wheeler. Like we've been blessed with some really great families that have, put their arms around their kids and didn't just like ship them off to us and say, y'all figure it out. So number one, kudos to them at home. Number two, when I tell you that Wheeler has the best administrative staff in 6A, or I don't know, but whatever classification is that you want to say, that like our admin staff is phenomenal. Like they top to bottom, they make sure that our kids are set up for success. And then it goes to, our teachers as well. Like our teachers understand the mission, like, hey, this kid can play. Now I ain't saying treat him special, but like let's make sure that we kind of put our arms around this kid so he doesn't become a product of his environment or he falls through the cracks. And so shout out to our teachers as well for spending some extra time with some guys who maybe math doesn't come as easily to them as another student. So like I said, it's just really that village. And then on top of that, we always got some corrective therapy that we call it, like, hey, bro, that C that you have right there is not going to get it done. You trying to go to this school. They don't take C's on their transcript. So you either going to fix that or you don't want to go there. You know what I'm saying? And, I think Larry just does an amazing job with our guys as far as, kind of, being a father figure, but also a mentor. And then also maybe I got to be a drill sergeant today. You know what I'm saying? So,
and Larry shoot it to him straight.
No, we don't play no games about that. You know what I mean? So our thing is, it's like, it's cool if you can dribble and shoot a basketball, but like if you can't qualify to go to school, you might as well just be a regular student. So like I said, I think like these kids are just really blessed to be in a situation to where everything that they want to go get is actually tangibly attainable. You know what I mean? Like they can really go get it, and they see that they can go get it because year after year after year, they have examples of, if I put the work in, I got people around me that's going to make sure I'm straight,
No doubt, man.
And so that's what we're doing. I can't believe you spending time with an assistant coach, man. I got to get Larry on the microphone, man.
Come on, man. You know I respect both of y'all, man.
I'm just an assistant coach, man. I don't know why you talking to me.
Man, but a real talk set, man. Everybody know you're in a piece and you're an important part of the puzzle there, man. Everybody know what it is, man. You know, when it was you, Mark, Coach Cam, and I mean, let's be honest, you all had an all-star lineup and still do. Let me just, it's not, but you know, like I said, when Mark was there, with Shu there, with Coach Cam there, to go with Larry, I mean, that makes Larry's life a lot easier, bro. So, man, I've always looked like, yeah, of course I would have Larry on here in a heartbeat. But, bro, I know what you do in the background as well, man. So I want people to know, man, Shep does his thing. You know what I'm saying? Shep does his thing, man. And I support you anytime, bro. You already know that, man.
Yeah, nah. It's all love, man. Thank you for real. This platform is amazing. I think you do an amazing job of really kind of touching all parts of the culture, you know, and so thank you. But yeah, man, I mean, next time we gotta get your head coach on, man. Like I can't be out here talking like I'm somebody, man. I don't got a program.
Man,
Larry is nice to me.
Oh, man, you know, Larry, you're welcome to come on the show anytime, man. But, you know, man, you got to get your props too, man, because you're part of that phenomenal blue blood there, man. You know what I'm saying? And everybody know what it is, man. Dre up there talking about you moonlighting as an assistant. But, man, thank you for coming on, man. Like I said, man, I talk about Wheeler when I'm in Pittsburgh, when I'm in North Carolina, when I'm in Houston, so people know what it is. And a lot of times, to my surprise, people be like, oh, yeah, I know who they are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been surprised a couple times, too. I did some work out in L.A., and, like, they was like, yeah, like, you know, when y'all playing Sierra Canyon? I was like, well, whenever they say, you know, I'm like, we ain't ducking them. You know what I'm saying? Like, well,
no doubt.
Let's play. So, yeah, man, I mean, thank you for sure. I really appreciate it. I definitely see you around at, you know, one of these events. And, anything I can do for you, man, let me know.
Man, and vice versa, man. Thank you.
Oh, also, too, man, 3P on the way. All right, I'm not ducking that conversation.
Hey, I'm going to clip that, Chef.
No, I'm going to clip that. Whatever. we working just like everybody else working.
Hey, you see Larry jumped on talking about why you being all modest. Larry, thank you, bro. Thank you, Larry.
Hey, that's because Larry been working on me, man.
Hey, Shep, I'll say this with no shame, man. And I know Larry will back me on this. Bro, if you really wanted to step out there and be a head coach, bro, anybody in Atlanta that knows you knows what it is. So, I mean, I should have introduced you as the associate head coach. You know what I'm saying? That's what I should have introduced you as. But, man, yeah, you're doing an amazing job, man. I mean, Larry knows he's blessed to have you, man. I mean, we're blessed to have you in the Atlanta culture, man. You know what I'm saying? Because, man, I'm sure if a school in Florida, if they wanted to pull up, yeah, they're going to pull up because they know your resume, man. So, yeah, bro, you got to get your flowers, man. Plain and simple.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Right now, I'm focused on winning. I need that third one. You know what I'm saying? Making sure.
I'm going to clip that, Chef. I'm going to clip it, bro.
Hey, bro, it's all over Twitter anywhere you want to see it. Like, I'm not ducking that conversation. I got to have it. And then also, too, you know, really focused on making sure we get Javon Gamery handled. Like, that's top of my priority list as well. Like, there's no reason why this kid isn't signed and already taken care of. So we working on that as well. But like I said, man, thank you so much. And
thank you, Chet, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Man, I'm definitely down to do that.
Yeah, man. You know, we'll see you all this season between us doing some stuff with SUV TV, us doing some stuff with TOC. You know, for sure. You know, we're gonna see you, man. And I thank you and Larry, man, for what you guys are doing out there, man. So, you know, this won't be the last time I have you or Larry. Next time I have you both on the show, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that'll really make me famous at that point, man. Hey, and then tell Hillsman too, man. I'm on his head too. I've been here. I know what's going on out there with Hillsman. So I'm. Yep. As soon as y'all pull up to the school, Gotta holler at you, Doc.
I got you, man. Hey, Shep, man, I appreciate it, brother. Definitely appreciate you, man. I know whenever I call, man, it's all love. You hit me back, man. You know, if you call me, it's all love, man. And
Yeah,
man,
no
let's just
doubt.
keep it as it is, man. I appreciate you for coming on the show, brother.
No doubt. Be safe, man. Stay COVID free, and you know, let's keep working for these kids, man.
No doubt, man. Thank you for coming on, Shep, man. Take care, brother.
All right, be safe.
All right, man. That was Coach Shep, man. That's my guy right there, man. I mean, Wheeler's a phenomenal program, man. And as you can see, if you're just paying attention to what they do over there, there's a reason why they're successful. Next up, man, I always love my JUCO coaches. And since my father is from Birmingham, I know all about this program as well. We got Coach Jonathan Jefferson, from Lawson State, the assistant coach. How you doing, brother?
I'm well, Coach. How about yourself?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm real good, man. As you can see, man, you know, when me and Shep get to talking about the kids, man, you know, sometimes we can be a little passionate about it, man. You know what I mean?
No, it's all love. It's all love. It's a blessing to be here.
Oh, definitely, man. And I'm going to see you next week, right? Because you guys are coming to Corey Black's event,
sir.
right?
We'll be in C Black's event in Carrollton on the 2nd.
Yeah, no
I don't have any times yet or a schedule yet, but we'll be there.
I'm gonna see you regardless. Yeah, I'm gonna see you there. And so, you know, I know about Lawson State because my father's originally from Bessemer, Alabama. So, you know, I know all about Lawson. I knew about it before Lawson even started to become a prominent basketball JUCO program, man.
Yes,
so I wanted to bring you on to introduce you to the Atlanta community, the ones that don't know about Lawson already. And we're going to talk about Lawson. But I got a quick question before we go into it. Is Lawson State still a HBCU community college?
It is. It is 1 out of 15 that's in the state of Alabama. So we still have that tag on it. So
okay.
We are.
People argue me about that. And I was like, man, I'm telling you, Lawson State is HBCU. They're just the JUCO. No, they're not. I was like, yes, they are, man.
Oh, most definitely.
And I'm glad you cleared that up, man.
Most definitely.
So, man, tell me, before we get into Lawson State, tell me about your background, man.
Okay, a little bit about my background. I'm originally from Tuscaloosa. I played high school ball there at Northridge High School. All 4 years there. Played junior college basketball actually in a conference that I am coaching now at it was previously called Alabama Southern, but now it's Alabama Coastal North. Now, so it's down there in Monroeville, down that way. So I played JUCO ball. Experienced that life for about a year. Then I played at Alabama State my sophomore and junior campaign. And then my senior year, I went to Fresno Pacific University. That's out in Fresno, California. So that's Division II.
Yes.
So I've been around for a little bit. I actually started my coaching at Shelton. That's in our
Coach Eastman?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Coach that's my guy. He's been on the show. He's been on the show before.
For sure. That's my guy. So I was there for a year. Then I got the opportunity to have the assistant job here at Lawson, and I took it and haven't looked back. So that's where we're at right now. And I'm actually training anywhere from beginners to professional also too. So I do that on the side.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you do it in Birmingham or you do it in Tuscaloosa?
Mostly Birmingham. But I'll travel back and forth. I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere. If you need me there, we'll make a plan and we there. You know, if you're serious, I'm serious. That's how I am.
Man, and so just what we were touching on with Coach Shep, with that network, I have a first-year head coach I want to put you in touch with as far as that training aspect goes, man. And that's right there in Inslee. So we'll talk some more about that outside the show. So, man, tell us about this year, man. I took a little look at your roster, what you got coming on. Tell us about your roster for Lawson this year.
So a little bit about our guys. One thing that I really enjoy with these guys, I think we have a great group of guys, you know, not only just basketball wise, but character wise, academically. I think they're a great group of people. And that's one of the things that we were looking for. Obviously, you know, like everybody's not perfect and we're not looking for, guys to be perfect because that's not realistic, you know. So this year we have a few Division I transfers that we're looking to definitely make an impact moving forward. Have a couple of Division II trends. Did I say Division II or Division I?
You said Division II.
Division II. We have a couple of Division II transfers, got a few Division I transfers. So I think we have a few guys that's returning that's going to help us, that's going to play, a decent amount of minutes. I can't really tell you who, it's going to be up to them. But like overall, I think this year is coming in. I think we have a great group of guys ready to play.
Okay.
Yes,
so
sir.
I want to ask you a question before we move further.
Mm-hmm.
So, everybody has a trend, like a lot of the D1 and D2 schools are picking off the portal, and they're picking off the portal, of course, and then of course they go JUCO. What I like to see a trend, well, not like, what I see a trend is as well, and you just verify that.
Okay.
Boy, you guys are picking off like D1s and D2s now like crazy, and we call those step downs for a year, and then they do what they have to do to either go D2, NAIA, or D1 again.
Yes, sir.
And so is that for Lawson, is that a formula, so to speak? Because let me be clear, it's not just you guys, but that just seems to be the trend. Like, okay, before we get these high school or post-grad kids, we're going to see what D1s and D2s have first if they want to come down to Lawson, and then you go from there. Is that correct?
For sure. Now, I think that's definitely a trend. And it sucks for high school guys too. That's the reality of it. But they're not the only ones still being looked over. You got guys that's in the Division I portal that's still sitting there. You know what I mean?
800 of them.
Exactly. So like, it just really depends on the staff, on the program, what they're looking for, certain type of guys they're trying to get in their program. And me personally, I think that's a good formula for JUCO, give guys another chance, mainly guys that have the experience. They've already had a college experience. They've already been through college practice. They already been through the college time management. So they already have some type of gauge of what they're going into, especially coming from a Division I program to a JUCO. It may seem easier.
Oh no.
It may seem easier, but it's really not.
No, it's not.
Really not. It's really not. So that trend movement, that's one thing that I've seen. Now there are other schools like in our conference, that necessarily just go after high school kids, or they just go after other JUCO transfers, so it just really just depends on the program. It depends on the school and that coach or what they're looking for sure.
Okay. So let's ask this. So with that being a trend, and like you said, you guys do have, a couple that are coming in. So that means you guys basically have to reload every year then.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Okay.
So
and the reason why I ask that is because, that makes you have to be flexible as the assistant, because you are continuously out there. Like, you don't have like maybe 7 or 8 freshmen. You guys maybe probably will have like 3 or 4 max.
Right.
The rest of these guys are, step downs for that year, and then they're going to reload to a D2 or D1.
Right.
So, I'm assuming, and I don't like to assume, but I would assume that those three or 4 freshmen, you probably have in the gym from a player development standpoint, because they probably have to be developed behind these step downs, correct?
For sure. Now that's automatic.
Okay.
That's automatic.
And that would be for the step downs as well, as far as player development, right?
Anybody that's in our program, we're trying to help them, whether it's mental, academic, physically, like now that's what JUCO is for. Like, I know that that, but for some people, guys don't understand. You're in junior college either because, like you said, step down. All right, academically you don't qualify. All right, you need some sort of development, either rather physically, mentally, or you just got overlooked. So those are a few things that get attached to JUCO guys. But when it comes to the freshmen, we have a few guys, like you said, there's only like 3 or 4, but they get to, what's the word I'm looking for? They get to get the motion of, the college atmosphere, get acclimated to it, So I think, it's a good development stage, especially for freshmen, for sure.
Gotcha. One of the other things I noticed as well is you guys hit Alabama pretty hard as far as recruitment wise. But I also see you are grabbing some out of state kids, especially some of them big kids.
For sure.
Okay. So that means you're open to somebody can come from California to Lawson State if they open to it.
If they're open to it, if they're good enough, we'll definitely take them. We'll definitely take them. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, we do want Alabama kids. We do want surrounding Birmingham area kids. But like I said, it is 16 JUCOs in the state of Alabama. I'm not saying that we cannot get them. And there's other Division 1s, Division 2s there too. But we want kids that want to be here. That wants to be in Birmingham, want to be at Lawson. So it doesn't matter, where they're at. We'll go get them.
So, and I just want people that aren't familiar with Lawson State, you guys are a JUCO D1, correct?
I'm sorry, Coach, what you say?
You guys are a JUCO D1, correct?
For sure. Yes, sir, we are.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted people to understand that, I don't want them to think, and it's no knock against a JUCO D2, JUCO D3, which also means JUCO D1s, you're getting a scholarship, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Now, in our conference, this one thing that I tell our guys too, we are a Division 1 junior college, but we technically give Division 2 scholarships because we do not pay for housing.
Okay, so they have to pay for housing, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so as far as their housing goes, is it apartments or how is it set up that they have to get, or are they just on their own for housing?
So I think, just with Lawson State, and it's kind of a recruiting tool too. I think we have, everything that an athlete needs to go to the 4 year. So as far as the on-campus housing, it's a 3-story co-ed. We have a brand new set of dorms also that's right next to it. Is first couple of floors are females, the last floor are males. Everybody is mostly a student athlete body that's there. You may have regular students there. But the kids, they get their own bathroom, they get their own Wi-Fi, they get their own cable, get their own climate control. So like it's hotel style, like it's secured. I think it's a great situation for guys that's, especially guys that's coming for 1 year or technically like 9 months, and leaving. So I think it's a great situation. It's a gold mine for sure.
So, Coach, I want you to explain to our audience, when you're coming in as a non-qualifier, what is needed to move on to the 4-year school, credit-wise?
Okay, credit-wise, so it just depends. All right, so let's say non-COVID year. All right, let's say non-COVID year. So let's say you want to be a Division 1 player. All right, you're going to need 60 transferable hours. That's going to transfer. All right, and you're going to need a 2.5.
Okay.
Now, if you graduate, then it may be a sliding scale as far as how many hours that you needed to required to be.
So as long as you got your AA, it may be a sliding scale on those hours, but you'll need at least 60 transferable hours, whether you've graduated or not, correct?
For sure. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now here's where the debate comes in. I want you to clarify this for me because I wasn't sure. I always thought that you had to get your degree to be able to play in that 4-year school.
So it's preferred. It just depends on the admission status, of the school. But like that's one thing that we really want our guys to just go ahead and graduate, so they wouldn't even have to worry about that. That's one of our goals, is have everybody have a 3.0 and everybody graduate. Those are our goals.
Okay. So what type of associates does Lawson offer?
So they offer anywhere from general studies. Now, when you say AA, like Lawson does have an automotive program. That's what they're known for.
Oh, man, let me say this, because one of the things I've learned as well, and excuse me, is one of the best things you can do at like a Lawson or Shelton is you can get your trade degree, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah, man. To be honest, if my child was going JUCO, I'd be like, man, get that trade, man, because that's where it's at.
Because there's always going to be a car that needs to be worked on. There's always a head that needs to be cut or done. So, like, got barbering, cosmetology, drafting. They have, they have several deals worked out with like Apple. Like Apple comes in and they donate computers, or they do diagnostics. That Mercedes, they send like 4 test cars for people that's in automotive. So like Lawson has, some hidden gems for sure.
I like that, man. I definitely like that. And so let's just go with last year, your kids that moved on to 4-year schools last year, where did they end up going last year?
So we had a handful of guys to get scholarships. So we had Vontaris Woolbright. He's actually a Georgia native. He's from Thomasville.
Okay.
He went to Thomasville High School. He ended up going to Western Carolina this year.
Okay.
So he's there. That was our point guard. We have Josiah Mitchell. He's from Florida. He went to Kentucky State. We have Malik Tyson. He went to St. Leo University. That's in Florida. Yes, sir. We have Josh Jackson that went to King University in Tennessee.
Yes.
We have Devin and Jemiah that went to Morris College. So that's NAIA. So we had like over a COVID year. I think our guys. Good. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That
for
was
sure.
Definitely good.
For
So for your sophomores this year, what are you expecting from them this year?
So for my sophomores this year, we're expecting leadership. Just through action, not leadership just through voice, leadership through action as well. We're looking for them to continue to compete in the classroom also. Our goals are at 3.2, as from our sophomores. So we want to have a 3.2 for everybody. Obviously, somebody's going to be, falling a little bit behind, but, we'll be here for them to push them. So them being able to continue to mature, continue to lead, all right, through actions, and continue to do what we need them to do, as far as showing up on time, as far as, things that we shouldn't have to say, things that we shouldn't have to say. So that's one of the things that we're looking for, just because we got a lot of new guys. And we do have a couple of returners, a couple of Division I transfers, and another returner that was a starter also. We're just looking for those guys to lead through action, because it can't always come from the coaching staff.
Absolutely. So give it to me. What's a normal day look like at Lawson State for one of your student athletes there on the basketball team?
Okay, so a normal day with us at Lawson, we'll be a little bit different, from the Division I level, but we still get up. We'll get up at 6:30. We'll do conditioning. Now, this is preseason. We'll do conditioning at 6:30. We'll have individual shooting times at 9 and 10. And then after that, we'll practice around 2:30 in the afternoon. Then after that, it'll either be weights or yoga. And we do that pretty much every day. Every other day, we won't get up at 6:30, but we'll still have that. And then on Fridays, we usually practice in the morning, have weights, and then those kids will usually be off a little bit early on Friday since they don't have class.
And they go to class in between 10 and 2?
So they go to class anywhere between 8 o'clock and, sometimes they have night classes like at 5. They may have a lab at 8 o'clock. So it just really depends. But for the schedule block schedule from 2 to 4, like nobody has class.
Okay.
On Saturdays, no class. We'll let them in. On Sundays, at noon, I'll come in and those guys get up shot. So it's pretty much a stout week.
So let me ask this: with you being the assistant/trainer, do you actually do personal development sessions with each one, or how do you operate?
So how I do it with that is I let them ask me. I can't want it more than them. I let them ask me, and I don't want anybody to think I'm showing favoritism. You know what I mean? So like as long as they ask, like, hey, coach, they know about what time I'll be in there. They'll ask me if I'm in there. So I already know that's my cue. Okay, you want to work? Let's do something. Let's, put this together. So that's one of the things now. That's one of the things, like, as I've been growing up, as coming up in the coaching game, that's one thing that I've tried to separate myself with. Mm-hmm. Because, like I said, I don't want anybody to think I'm playing favorites. So, at the end of the day, the guys that want to, they're going to be in there. And that's the guys that I work with that take it serious. So,
absolutely. I like that. That. So, from a schedule perspective this year, what's your schedule looking like? I mean, I know you're doing Corey Black's event. Are you doing any other jamborees?
So we'll be going down to Mississippi. I think we'll be in Wnba, if I'm not mistaken. As the schedule's still tentative, so we'll be down in Mississippi the weekend after that. Then we'll go to Tallahassee. We'll be in front of
TCC's event.
We'll be in front of hundreds of coaches. We asked for Northwest Florida. We asked for any Panhandle school, because we want our guys to have a better gauge of competition.
TCC's event is the 15th.
The 15th?
I think it's that weekend.
It's the weekend of the 15th, but I think it's the 18th, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look at my calendar. Okay, it's not the 18th. You're correct. So it's the 16th. It's the 16th.
That's Saturday. Okay, man. There's a lot going on that weekend.
Oh yeah.
That weekend is also Scott Golden's event in Orlando as well. Okay. So man, there's probably going to be probably about 200-300 coaches in Florida that weekend.
For sure. We'll end up. We'll actually be throwing our own jamboree, and we'll be here on October 24th. October 24th here in Birmingham. We'll have Motlow, we'll have Northwest Florida, we'll have Wnba, we'll have a lot of heavy hitters coming in here.
Is that that's a Sunday?
October 24th, yes, sir.
I'll be there for that, man. We'll talk some more. I'll definitely be there for that one.
Okay, just let me know. Let me know. We'll get it together, and I think that'll be definitely worth the trip.
Oh, definitely. That's sure. A few hours down the road, so that's nothing there, man. Mm-hmm. Man, Coach, I love what you guys are doing there, man. And number one, you getting kids in school, and one of the big things, like I said, is like you said, and I agreed, is getting that trade. So before I expand on that, so if you get your trade, mm-hmm. Is that transferable to a 4-year school is the question.
Now it just depends on the school. Okay. Now if he or she goes to like an Alabama A&M or FAMU or something that's agricultural,
like a tech or agricultural school,
they may be able to slide some courses through there.
Okay, but if not, then so if you take that trade route, mm-hmm. then there's going to be some schools you can't go to, mm-hmm. correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's tough. Tough.
Yeah, I like it, but that's the downside of it as mm-hmm. well, man. I mean, that's something I learned right there. I didn't really think about it because I was all in for the trade, but if it limits the schools you're able to go to, unless you just take a full load and take a trade on the side, then that becomes tough then.
It does. But the beauty about Lawson is they offer 2 mini terms. So you'll be able to take courses in one mini term for a couple of months and courses in the next mini term. So let's say if we wanted to get them in like some general study courses, getting their main cores with the English, math, and sciences, getting those out the way, that'll at least help the process for sure, because those are automatically transferred. And then with your your computer science, you'll throw that in there, throw art in there. A couple of PEs and you'll be good. It really just depends on the structure of however the coach gets your schedule together. And, that will be a conversation beforehand also too within the recruiting process of what they're trying to do and what their goals are.
Boy, I guess that's something I'm going to definitely talk to you long-term about, because I never thought about that. I'm always big on education, and if a kid could come in and it can only be for a 2-year kid, because that one, that drop down, he's just getting what he needs for that year, and that's what it is. But for a kid that's actually coming there for 2 years, how could they get their 60 credits, so to speak? And if they wanted to get a trade, whatever that trade may be that Lawson offers, mm-hmm. have you had somebody do that before?
So in actuality, I would say we did, but we didn't.
Okay.
Now, what I mean by that is, now this happened last year. Like it was transportation issues, so we didn't really get through the whole year. So we had to do some changing around just as far as the declared major and all that. Mm-hmm. But we haven't had that problem yet. But now that you said that, I mean, some solutions would be to get them in the courses that they would need to take advantage of the summer. Take advantage of the summer. Use the summer as far as the courses, going toward whatever that they want to do. They can declare a minor in general studies if they wanted to do that. So we will package it as best that we can. Usually administration, helps us out, make sure that we're making sure that these guys in the right course of degree in their plan, and just go from there.
Okay. Sounds good. Definitely sounds good. Hey, man, I like what I hear, man. I definitely like what I hear what Lawson's offering. One last question. The conference you guys playing?
Yes, sir.
What's the name of the conference you guys playing? I know.
So it's called the ACCC. It ain't the ACC. Add the last C on there. Add the last C on there. So it's the Alabama Community
College Conference. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So it's got 16 teams divided up into the North and South. We're in the North Division. We got Shelton, we got Marion, we got Sneed, we got Hansville, and Gaston. And no disrespect to the other schools, but that's those are some of the name in our North.
Oh yeah, that's the cream of the crop, because a lot of people sleep on Sneed until they see him, boy. The Sneed can play too. They got
shout out to my guy Joseph Brooks. That's my guy over there. Assistant coach.
Actually, they have a great program. Yeah, actually, definitely.
For sure.
Man, I appreciate you coming on, man. I mean, I always want to give every avenue possible, whether it's JUCO, whether it's NAI, D3, D2, D1, man. And you guys do an excellent job, not only of placing your players, but a lot of times people never thought of, man. And, man, I'm going to see you. I know I'm going to see you in a week,
oh, yeah, for sure.
Corey Black's event, man. But let me ask this last thing, man. If people are interested in going to Lawson, how can they get a hold of you or Coach?
So they can email me at j.jefferson@lawsonstate.edu.
Okay.
And I can take care of the rest. They don't have to worry about, I try to take as much stress off the head coach as I can, and just go from there, just with anything as far as contact. Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you want them just to email? Do you want them on Twitter? What's your preference?
So they can email me. They can write me on Twitter, Coach J Jeff, Coach lowercase J Jeff. I try to get back to you within the first 24 hours. All right. And I'm usually pretty good about that. So just tell them to reach out. If they have any questions academically, recruiting wise, I'm an open book.
Definitely. Hey, Coach, man, I appreciate you coming on, man, and I'm looking forward to seeing your team play next weekend, man, at Corey Black's event, man.
Thank you.
Hey, man, you have a good one, man, and we'll be talking real soon, okay?
For sure. It was a blessing being here. Looking forward to connecting with you.
I appreciate it, man. You have a good night, okay?
All right, you too. Take care, Coach.
All right, take care.
All right. Now.
That was Coach Jefferson coming on from Lawson State. One of the Hbcu community colleges that people don't know about, and they also do a good job there as well. As you can see, we had an action-packed night tonight. We had some really good coaches. We had a good trainer come on as well. And I appreciate you guys for checking in for episode number 28. We coming up on 30 pretty soon. It's been wild that it's been almost a year that we've been doing this. And I thank you guys for definitely checking us out and staying tuned. And, we're just trying to educate you on some great things and coaches and opportunities, and we're going to keep doing that as well. So next week, we got a great show in store for next week as well. And we'll see you guys next. Oh, no, I'm sorry. My bad, Dre. We got a great surprise this weekend. And boy, my mind's been somewhere else as well. We're going to be doing a Kennesaw State show this Wednesday that's going to be pre-recorded, and we're going to put it out this weekend, more than likely, either this weekend or Monday. So we're going to be interviewing the Kennesaw State head coach on the men's and women's side. So I definitely want you guys to check that out. So we'll go forward, and you guys take care, okay?